It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. The house smelled like fried onions and cumin, the ceiling fan hummed lazily above me, and sunlight spilled across the living room floor in warm golden strips. Everything felt normal, too normal for what I was about to say. My palms were sweating. My throat felt dry like sand. Mom was folding laundry on the sofa, neatly stacking shirts, towels, and then she picked up a pair of soft pink panties. My breath hitched. I don't know why that tiny piece of fabric held so much power over me. Maybe because I had secretly touched them before. Maybe because I knew how they felt. Smooth, delicate, comforting against my skin. Maybe because they represented something I had been hiding from the world. And from myself. My fingers trembled. "Mom!" My voice cracked. She didn't look up. I swallowed. My chest tightened. My mind screamed, "Don't say it. Don't ruin everything." But the words pushed forward anyway. I think I want to wear panties." The room went completely silent. She froze. Her hands stopped mid-fold. Slowly, painfully slowly, she lifted her head and looked at me. I had never seen that expression on her face before. Confusion, fear, and something else. Something I couldn't read. My stomach twisted. My vision blurred. I felt like I had just stepped off a cliff. "What did you say?" she asked softly. I opened my mouth but no sound came out. My heartbeat pounded in my ears so loudly it felt like thunder. I forced myself to repeat it. I want to wear them." Her eyes flicked to the pink panties in her hands, then back to me. And in that moment, I felt completely exposed. Like my entire secret life had been ripped open under bright lights. I wanted to disappear. After that day, everything changed. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, painfully. Like cracks spreading across glass. Mom didn't yell. She didn't scold me. She just became quiet. Too quiet. She started watching me differently. Her eyes lingered longer than before, searching my face as if trying to understand who I really was. At dinner, conversations felt strained. Dad noticed the tension but didn't know why. He'd ask, "What's wrong with you two?" Mom would just shake her head. "Nothing." But there was something. There was a heavy, invisible wall between us now. And I hated it. At school, things weren't any easier. I sat in class pretending to focus on lectures, but my mind replayed that moment over and over. The look on Mom's face. The silence. The fear that I had disappointed her. I started noticing things more. The way girls laughed freely, adjusting their hair without thinking. The way their clothes flowed when they walked. The softness in their voices. The way they seemed comfortable in their own skin. Meanwhile, I felt trapped inside mine. Every morning when I put on my stiff jeans and rough cotton underwear, it felt wrong. Like I was wearing someone else's life. My friends would joke around, talking about sports, girls, and being manly. I'd laugh along. But inside, felt like a fraud. Like I was playing a role I never chose. And every night, when the house fell silent, that secret desire returned stronger than ever. The first time I actually did it. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped them. It was late. Everyone was asleep. I crept into the laundry room with my heart racing, listening carefully for any sound. I found them in the basket. Soft cotton panties, pale lavender. I hesitated. "This is wrong," a voice inside me whispered. But another voice replied, "No, this is you." Slowly I picked them up. They felt warm and soft against my fingertips. My chest tightened with nervous excitement. I went back to my room, locked the door, and sat on the edge of my bed. My hands trembled as I removed my usual underwear. For a moment I froze. Then I slipped them on. The fabric hugged my body gently. Not tight. Not restrictive. Just comforting. I gasped softly. Felt right. Not in a sexual way. Not in a rebellious way. But in a deeply emotional way. Like something inside me had finally aligned. I stood up slowly and walked to the mirror. My reflection stared back at me. Same face. Same body. But something was different. My eyes looked softer, calmer, more like me. I placed my hand over my chest. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was pretending. Tears slipped down my cheeks. Not from sadness, but from relief. From that night on, it became my secret ritual. Every evening after everyone slept, I would quietly change. Sometimes I just sat on my bed, running my fingers over the fabric, feeling its softness. Sometimes I practiced walking differently. Slower, lighter, more graceful. Sometimes I whispered to myself in a softer voice, testing how it felt. I began experimenting with small things. Touch of lip balm. Brushing my hair differently. Studying how girls sat, talked, moved. Each discovery brought a strange mixture of fear and excitement. Felt alive. But also terrified of being caught. One night, I heard footsteps outside my room while I was still wearing them. My heart nearly exploded. I quickly turned off the lights and jumped into bed, pulling the blanket over myself. The door handle rattled slightly. "Are you awake?" Mom's voice came softly. "No," I whispered quickly. There was a pause. Then her footsteps faded away. I lay there shaking for minutes afterward. But something surprising happened too. Part of me felt stronger. Because despite the fear, I knew I wasn't going to stop. The real test came a few months later. A weekend. Dad was away on a work trip. Mom had gone grocery shopping. I was alone at home. And for the first time, I decided to try something bigger. I found one of Mom's old skirts in the back of her closet. My hands trembled as I held it. This felt like crossing a line I could never uncross. But my curiosity was overwhelming. I slipped it on. The fabric flowed softly around my legs. My breath caught. I walked to the mirror again. And this time, I didn't see confusion. I saw possibility. I tried smiling, tilting my head, turning slightly, and suddenly, I laughed. A real joyful laugh. 'Cause for the first time, I didn't feel like I was hiding from myself anymore. I felt like I was discovering myself. But secrets never stay hidden forever. One evening, Mom entered my room without knocking. And there I was, standing near the mirror, wearing a skirt and panties. Time stopped. My blood turned ice cold. Her eyes widened. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't even speak. For several seconds we just stared at each other. Then she quietly closed the door behind her. My heart pounded wildly. I can explain," I whispered, voice trembling. She didn't respond immediately. Instead, she walked slowly toward me. Her expression wasn't angry. It wasn't disgusted. It was sad. And worried. "Why didn't you tell me how much this meant to you?" she asked gently. My eyes filled with tears. "Because I thought you'd hate me." Her face softened. "Oh, my child." She stepped closer and placed her hand on my shoulder. "I don't hate you. I just didn't understand." My voice broke. "I don't fully understand either. I just know this makes me feel peaceful." Silence hung between us. Then she sighed quietly. And something unexpected happened. She pulled me into a hug. A warm, tight hug. "You're still my child," she whispered. "Nothing changes that." I broke down completely in her arms. Years of fear, shame, confusion, all pouring out in silent sobs. And for the first time, I didn't feel alone. From that day forward, everything began to change. Slowly, carefully, but positively. Mom didn't force me to stop. She didn't judge me. Instead, she started asking questions, listening, learning. Sometimes she even helped me choose clothes that felt comfortable. I began stepping outside more confidently. Not fully public, but slowly expanding my world. Each small step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. And one day I realized something powerful. This journey wasn't about clothing. It wasn't about labels. It wasn't about pleasing others. It was about honesty, about courage, about allowing yourself to exist exactly as you are. Now, when I look back at that moment in the living room, the day I told Mom, I realized something. That wasn't the day I risked losing everything. It was the day I finally stopped losing myself. 'Cause sometimes, the bravest thing you can do isn't fighting the world. It's telling the truth about who you are. Even when your voice shakes. Even when your heart feels like it might break. And when you do, you might just discover that acceptance was waiting closer than you ever imagined. Sometimes, right in your mother's arms.